In many of my videos, I've been talking about how syncing my life and my activities to my hormonal cycle has allowed me to not burn out anymore, alhamdulillah. And you've been requesting a lot more information on that topic, so here we are. Today, I'm going to tell you everything about the 4 seasons within you as a woman, and hopefully this will help you feel more aligned and more connected to your body and what you need. If you are new here, assalamu alaikum, my name is Sumaya. I'm a personal development coach and business mentor, and for the past 5 years I've been juggling a lot of hats. I'm a business owner, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a student of knowledge, a student of Arabic, I'm a friend, daughter, sister, and somehow I managed to do it all without it going insane. And I think that knowing about my hormonal cycle has definitely helped do that. So let's talk about this. For me, everything changed when I came across a beautiful teacher named Ustada Ifet Rafiq. I was introduced to her courses, her workshops, and I went to one of them which was called The Seasons Within. And before that, I knew absolutely nothing about hormonal cycles. I don't remember that class in science in secondary school. I didn't know that there were a lot happening within me. I did not know that my body was drastically different from a man's body, because the society that we live in unfortunately pushes us to act as if we were men, to work and to live our lives as if we had the same rhythm as men. But that's not the truth. The truth is that men operate on a 24-hour circadian rhythm, which means that men wake up in the morning full of energy, and that energy goes down throughout the day, and then they go to sleep and they wake up again full of energy. That's their 24-hour cycle. Women, on the other end, operate on a cycle that is 28 days. Between 28 and 35 days, depending on each woman, but on average it's 28 days. And that cycle depends on hormones. And your hormones are going to affect your mood, your energy level, focus, your physical well-being, pretty much everything. And that's why it's so important to know which season of the month you are in and how to act depending on the season that you are in. So let's talk about the first season, which is going to be the menstrual cycle, which is when your periods start, obviously. And we call it winter, because that season pretty much feel like winter. This is what's happening inside of you. On the physical level, you are going to be very low on energy. You might even have some cramps and some headaches due to your periods. You will be moody in that season of the month. It's a time where it's hard to focus mentally. You find yourself being very clumsy, very slow, and not being very creative. And that's a time where things feel a lot more overwhelming than usual, and that's why we end up crying a lot in that season as well, because we feel like we can't take care of the things that we normally take care of so well. In terms of things to do during that season, it's a season to really, truly 100% rest. And when I say rest, I don't mean scroll on your phone for hours on end. I mean truly rest. And this is something that Ustada Ifet would say. It's a season to not even cook. You should be on your feet as least as possible. I don't know if that's an expression in English, but you should not be standing on your feet in that season. You should be laying, sleeping as much as possible, and just eating wholesome food and taking care of yourself with love and compassion, showing yourself a lot of grace. That's the season of winter for you. When it comes to spirituality, because I know a lot of Muslim women struggle to feel connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during that time of the month, especially during Ramadan. So I'm going to share a few points with you that I learned from Sheikha Haifa Yunus. And she basically advised women, especially if you have a long winter season of 10 days, to still wake up at the time of Fajr and do some dhikr instead of praying. To increase your connection with the Quran during that time, obviously you're not allowed to recite it, but you can still read it without moving your lips, without saying it out loud, and you can still listen to it. So it's still a time where you get to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without salah, without prayer, there are so many other ways that we can do that as women, alhamdulillah, and that's one of the blessings of being a Muslim woman, and it's one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us with His immense generosity, alhamdulillah. The other thing that she would say is during the times of prayers, you can still put out your musalla, put out your prayer mat, and sit on that mat and do something related to the deen. Seeking knowledge being one of those. Seeking knowledge is definitely an act of ibadah. So when you are not menstruating, of course you will be spending more time praying, but when you are menstruating, you have that free time that's been given to you. Why don't you listen to one of your classes? Why don't you revise your notes? Why don't you take more time on a topic that you did not understand? Maybe have some revision sessions, and so on and so forth. In terms of work, for those of you who work, it's not a time to be involved in very mentally draining activities. This, however, is a good time to reflect on how the past month went and to plan ahead for the next week or the next few months, even if you want to, because that does not require a lot of energy from you. Now, what has really changed for me over the past few years since I've known about the seasons within is truly showing a lot more acceptance when that time of the month comes around and being a lot less demanding towards myself, reducing my level of expectations when it comes to the winter season. So when that time comes, because I'm tracking my cycle, I know that I'm not going to have a lot of calls. I make sure that I organize my time so that I don't have a lot of things to do related to work. Not a lot of things that include talking to people, for example, because it's not a time to socialize as well. So if you have your own business, and I know that most of you who follow me are entrepreneurs, make sure that before that week comes, you have organized your time in a way that allows you to seclude from society and kind of retrieve into your own bubble, because that's exactly what you need at that time. Cancel meetings or do not schedule meetings in that time. Avoid traveling during that time as well. Avoid social gatherings at that time, and so on and so forth. Now let's talk about spring, which is the follicular phase of your cycle, the one that comes straight after your period ends. So picture a graph in your hand. If in terms of physical energy during winter you are at the bottom, in spring obviously you're starting to feel slightly better. So your focus, your concentration, your sharpness will definitely be better than in winter. You're starting to feel a little bit more energized, so it's a good time to start projects. Your creativity is also back at that point, so you can engage in creative activities. It's a time where you'll really be open to new ideas, so quite smart at that point to set new goals and to also learn new things. In terms of social engagement, it is also okay at that point to get back into the world. The third phase of your cycle, which is going to be summer, and we love summer, is the ovulatory phase of the month, and it's the shortest one, unfortunately, but it's the time where we are at the peak of our energy, peak of focus, concentration, confidence as well. And I promise you, once you start tracking your cycle and you know when you are in your summer, you will notice you feel so much better in your summer. You feel like you could conquer the world. Your skin is shining, you have barely any pimple. You find yourself not overthinking too much and being able to come up to people that you don't know and talk to them. You take more initiative at work. You're able to take more risk as well. So it's an incredible season, and it's a good time to make moves in your life. So again, if you are working, you're an entrepreneur, and you know that at some point you're going to have to pitch your services or do a presentation in front of someone, and you get to decide the date, make that happen during your summer phase. Your energy is going to be completely different than if you were doing it in winter, trust me. It's a good time to engage in negotiations and networking as well. Because you're so much more social at that time, you will be more persuasive and you'll be more easy to fall in love with, even if you're always easy to fall in love with. It's really a good time to form new partnerships and put yourself out there. And it's also a time where if you are in a team, it's a lot easier to work with people. Let's talk about the spiritual aspect of things when it comes to the summer phase. phase. I remember Ustada Ifet would recommend us to fast during that time because it's a time when we don't need a lot of calories. We've got a lot of energy due to our hormones, so it's a good time to fast. And finally, let's talk about the fourth phase of the cycle, which is going to be autumn, what is also called the luteal phase. And that's the phase where after summer, the energy starts dropping now and your body is getting ready for your periods. It is one of the hardest season because it's the one where premenstrual symptoms will arise. You might experience a lot of mood swings, a lot of irritability, and it's really a time to wind down and wrap up all of the exciting and energetic activities and projects that you had going on during spring and summer. So at that point, your focus and energy are definitely reduced. So you want to start reclusing again, so similar to winter, but not as drastically as during winter. So you can still engage in social activities, of course, but you're kind of gearing towards independent work more in the autumn season. It's definitely not a time where I personally go out a lot. It's a time where I get ready to hibernate for winter. So it means that you should spend autumn on detailed focused tasks, planning tasks, organization tasks that you know you won't be able to engage in during winter, so that you remove that stress away from you. It's a good time to meal prep so that you don't have to cook during winter as well. So I've just shared the main information about this topic with you, and I've told you enough for you to be able to sync your level of activity and your spirituality as well, or your sociability, depending on the phase that you are in. And my hope for you is that because of those small but very impactful changes, you are able to not burn out anymore, because this is exactly what it did for me. What I was trying to do was to live like a man and act like a man, and I was going against my nature and the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created me. And part of healing my feminine side really came with understanding my body and understanding my cycle. I can also recommend a beautiful app for you, which is called Lively. This is not a sponsored video at all. If Lively want to partner with me, I'd be happy to do so, but it's one of the best apps that I've seen out there when it comes to tracking your cycle. It's very aesthetically pleasing, and what Lively does is that it tells you exactly what to do and what to eat during each phase of your cycle. And you can also log your symptoms. The advice is separated in 3 sections: do, move, and eat. And I just think it's a beautiful app. I don't take advantage of it enough because I don't use my smartphone that much anymore. But it's a beautiful app to also remind you which season you are on and what you should do according to the season that you are in. That's it for today. Alhamdulillah. If that was beneficial, let me know in the comments below. If it's the first time that you hear about the seasons within, let me know as well, so that I feel less alone. I've only known about this for the past 5 years, alhamdulillah. And I would love to know what else you want me to talk about when it comes to feminine energy, alignment, healing, business as well, because that's pretty much what I'm focused on at the moment. And I am taking in 2 new sisters in the mastermind, which is a group coaching program designed to help you generate a lot more income as a coach. So if that sounds like you, if you are already coaching people, you're changing lives, you're creating transformation within your clients, but you're struggling to put yourself out there consistently, to destroy your limiting beliefs, to know exactly how to market your services in a way that feels aligned to you, then definitely reach out to me, inshallah. You'll find the information in the description box below, and I would love to have you in the amazing group of sisters that I have running at the moment, alhamdulillah. It was a pleasure talking to you today. I will see you very soon, inshallah.